Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I have the Last Ronin unarmored number 2 of the set. Now again, with these sets I will be reviewing them in numerical order, so whenever I get them I will review them, so as in 1, 2, and 3. And at the end of the video they each have a picture on the side which makes a mural, and I will show y'all how that looks at the end when they're all together. But besides that, let's just go ahead and get into the box. So here we have the Last Ronin unarmored, and this is such a cool shot of him. This is him before he does a, can't remember the name, but it's whenever samurais try to regain their honor by committing suicide. Now it says right here, Last Ronin unarmored, and at the top, the Last Ronin TMNT. On this side, we have a nice picture of him right here, and as you can see, they all connect, and I will show you how that looks with number 1. And it looks like we got a RAF right here, so we'll be reviewing that hopefully sometime soon. On the back, we got nice shots of the figure right here, Last Ronin at the bottom, and same wording as the last figure. Again, you can pause to read that if you'd like. But moving on, we have the other side, Last Ronin at the top, Ronin right here, and at the bottom, the Last Ronin unarmored number 2 of the set. So cool, so awesome. And I didn't say last time, but at the top we have the Last Ronin right here, and at the bottom some labels and the artwork, director, painter, and packaging and illustrations, as well as the photographer. Look at that. Amazing people. I believe these action figures are amazing, just like I stated in the last video. Again, we have a Velcro strap right here to keep the front intact. Nice shot of the figure right here. And then the figure in its clear display right here. Look at how cool he looks with all his accessories. Now, besides that, let's just go ahead and get this figure out of the box and see everything he comes with. And here we have him out of the box, Last Ronin unarmored. Now look at this guy. This guy looks super cool, super detailed. He comes with a good amount of accessories, and I think it's cool is that you can change out the accessories with the other Last Ronin, the first one, as well as use them on this guy. So I will go ahead and show y'all that here when we get to that part. But for now, let's go ahead and talk about his detail. Look at this guy. Same amount of detail on the feet right here. Ankles, knee pads, just like the first Last Ronin. I think this right here has a bit more shading. But man, does this look cool. Again, he looks like he just jumped straight out of the comic. Look at that shell. You can see all the damages, nicks here and there. You got scars all around him right here on his arms. Man, this guy is definitely battle damaged for sure. And I wouldn't say he's completely unarmored, but he's definitely unarmored. Look at that. His head looks kind of smaller, but I think it's because he doesn't have his hood or his jacket on. But look at that. This guy looks so mean and lean, especially green. Now, besides that, he looks almost the exact same from bottom to feet right here, waist right here, all the way to the bottom, exact same as the other Last Ronin, except he just doesn't have his jacket or coat because of what he was going to do in the comic. And then his hood, of course, and his weapons on the back. Now, besides that, let's just go ahead and get into his accessories. And here we have all of the Last Ronin's accessories, and he comes with a fair amount of accessories. Not a lot, but a good amount. Now, with this Last Ronin action figure, he doesn't come with Donnie's bow staff. So if you do want to get that staff, you will have to get the first Last Ronin. But if you have both of the Last Ronins, if you know from watching my first video of the Last Ronin, he only came with one of Raph's size, one of his chucks, and one of Leo's sword, as well as one of these batons. So if you get the second Last Ronin, the unarmored, you will now have two of his nunchucks, two of Raph's size, one of Leo's broken sword and one regular, and two batons. But besides that, let's just go ahead and get into the accessories. We'll start off with the heads. So he comes with this default head right here, just a kind of frowning, no teeth showing head. Nice little bandana right here that hangs in the back. Now this bandana is different compared to this one, as well as the other Last Ronin figures, which I will show you all the comparisons between them. But man, does this look good. You got some nice detail. Again, looks like it just jumped out of the comic. Mine has a little bit of a white scuff right here. Man, does it look clean. And then we have his other alternate head right here with a longer bandana going down his back and a frowning grin this time. Look at that. And we can compare, we can compare these two heads together. But look at that. These look like he just jumped out of the comic. Look at that. There's a little bit of different spots than this one. That's so weird. So besides that, let's go ahead and get into, the Mouser bot right here. Let me fix that. The Mouser bot right here. This is painted very well. Detail looks great. There's not much to talk about. It's just a white and black little figure right here. His legs do not move whatsoever. So don't try moving the legs, but his head does. You can twist his head just left and right. So there's not much articulation when it comes to this guy, but definitely a good amount of detail for sure. But besides that, let's just go ahead and talk about his weapons. Now, here we have another one of his batons. This is his electric baton, so it sends out like a little electric bolt right here. Right, I think it's right here. It's the same as the last one. Great detail, great paint work and shading into it. So there's not much to talk about when it comes down to this. Now, besides that, we have his brother's sai, Raphael's sai right here, which looks super cool, just like the other one. Silver paint right here for the metal, and then a nice brown wrapping with blackish detail in there, which looks super, super duper great. Then, lagged a little bit there. Then we have his nunchucks right here, which look super awesome. We got a nice metal chain right here, so you can swing these around. Super cool. Look at that. Beautiful detail, a lot better than the Michelangelo from the not BTS, right? The other review I did on him, he came with terrible nunchucks. But the Last Ronin figures definitely come in to fix that. Look at that. Then we have Leo's sword. Now, when he's battling, I believe, the footbots, he ends up breaking his sword. Or I think it was either the footbots or Sinjabots that he breaks his sword, Leo's katana. So as soon as he breaks Leo's katana, he flees back to the sewer after plummeting from I don't know how many stories and decides to end his life there. But luckily, Casey comes in and saves his life. But look at that, the detail. And I'll compare Leo's full sword compared to this sword. But look at that. Same handle, same guard, just broken at the top. Oh, super cool. Then we got some throwing knives. We have 4 of the same throwing knives. Little daggers right here. Oh, there we go. Little daggers right here in a nice silverish paint. Super cool, super nice. Looks good. But not much to talk about. Then we have Splinter's journal. Now this doesn't open up. It's just a hard plastic, so you don't have to worry about tearing it or ripping it, anything like that. But this looks good. So cool. And there's not much to talk about. It just has some writing right here. I'm not sure what it says, but still super cool. Nice shading and coloring on this figures. Like, man, I cannot get over the shading and coloring on this. Like, all the accessories, all the figures, hand sculpts, head sculpts, weapons, just all of the coloring and paintwork on it is amazing, phenomenal. Speaking of the hands, we have 2 of his default fisted hands. Now these are the exact same as the other Last Ronin, except for this one, you put the tiny daggers in, which I will show y'all here in a little bit whenever we come down to reviewing the hands on the figure. But the hands look exactly the same as the Last Ronin, the other one I just did a review on. You can go ahead and check that one out. Oop. Super cool detail. A little bit of chip paint right here coming off here and there. Then we have his weapon holding hands again. These hands seem a little different. Not completely the same as the other weapon holding hands, but they are exactly kind of the same, so there's not much. You can change these out on the Last Ronin figure, so you can have the other Last Ronin with these hands or the new Last Ronin right here with the old hands. Super cool. And then we have a new set of hands. Now these hands are kind of fingers together, open palm, super cool hands, which look really nice. Now these are definitely new. You got some nice detail in the fingers right here, and as well as on the inner glove. Super cool, super nice. Great shading, great paintwork, and great sculpt work for sure. Look at that. And then he comes with only one of these hands, and it's like a pointing hand. I'm not sure what he uses this for, but this is more like he just finished throwing the dagger. Or you can use this as in like he just finished throwing one of the ninja stars, but this is definitely a new hand for sure. He only comes with one, which is kind of upsetting. I wish he came with 2 of them, but hey, I can't complain. Look at that. Now, besides that, there's nothing else to really talk about, so let's just go ahead and get into the figure with his accessories on him. And here we have him with his default head sculpt and default hands. So let's just go ahead and get into the head sculpt. Now this head sculpt looks really cool, really nice. It looks really great on him. Little upset about that white spot right there of paint, but hey, it's okay. And like I said, the bandana rests on his shell right here on his back. And you can change out the bandana with his other bandanas, such as the one that comes with the angry head sculpt right here that comes with him. Just pop that off of him, set that down, and pop this one off of him as well. And all you have to do is just plug it into that tiny hole right there. So we'll go ahead and plug that in just like that and turn it. And it'll rest a little bit longer than the other bandana did, This one kind of hung a little closer to his neck right there, but this one goes all the way down his back, which is super cool and super awesome. We can also get in the other bandanas from the other head sculpts, such as the one from the yelling head sculpt on the other Last Ronin. Right here, we just got to unplug it right here and unplug right here and just plug that one in. Super easy and simple, and we'll just twist that back. And this one hangs closer to his right arm. Instead, we can go ahead and show y'all what that looks like. See how this one would just hang on his back going down? This one leans towards his right. And same thing with his other bandana. Oh, almost forgot what it was called. The one that comes with the other Last Ronin, all you have to do is just plug it in and it hangs right here. So now you have 4 interchangeable bandanas right here if you get both of the Last Ronin figures. Now, besides that, let's go ahead and put on his other head sculpt. And here we have him with his angry, kind of frowning, angry head sculpt. Now this head sculpt looks really nice. We have his long bandana that he comes with. Super, super cool. I think this looks really good on the figure. This might be my favorite head sculpt for this figure, for sure. Now, of course, we're going to take off the bandanas and show you what each bandana looks like with this head sculpt on. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. All you have to do, unplug, and we'll go ahead and get the bandana from the Last Ronin armored one. So the first Last Ronin, plug it on in, and that's what it looks like. Just resting on his shoulder, just like that. I'm going to go ahead and take this one out too, pop that one off, and get in the other Last Ronin from the other armored one and plug that one in as well. Go ahead and get that in. There we go. And this one again leans to the right more than the other one does. And this one looks super nice, super clean. And then the last bandana that comes with this figure is the other bandana on the alternate head sculpt, which again leans to the right a little bit, but waves in the wind. And this one can also, if you turn it, here, let me fix it a bit. If you turn it, you can have it resting on his other side or his shell. So there you go. That's what it looks like. Now besides that, let's go ahead and just bring in the other Last Ronin head sculpts from the first one. So here we have the other 2 Last Ronin head sculpts, his angry one and his grinning angry one as well. This one's yelling though. Now you can also switch the head sculpts onto the other action figure, which I will show y'all. But let me go ahead and pop this one off right here for y'all. We'll take off the bandana first. And go ahead and pop this one off. Boy, a little bit of a struggle. And we'll just push this one on. There we go. And there we have the other alternate Last Ronin head from the first figure on. Look at that. Now, the coloring doesn't seem off, which is really nice. I like that they kept the coloring and the right shading of green so that we can switch out the heads. So that is super cool. Of course, we can switch out the bandanas. We can go ahead and plug in the unarmored Last Ronin bandana on into the armored one. And it'll look just like that. Super cool, super nice. We'll go ahead and take that off. And then his other Last Ronin right here, armored one, that plugs in and lays on his side, other side, like that. Super nice. Now let's go ahead and pop on his screaming head sculpt. We'll go ahead and put that there. So all you have to do, pop off real quick. We'll keep these separate. And then push it on down. Look at that. Now we have him screaming at you. He's gonna charge and run at you without his armor on. And of course, we can put on the unarmored bandanas on him too. And we'll just pop that on in and have it rest right there. Oh, it's not fully in. Yeah, let's do that again. There we go. And now it's resting on the shell. Super nice. And of course, we can have the long bandana as well for the unarmored on the armored head sculpts. Super nice. Now we can also put the unarmored head sculpts, on the armored figure. So let's go ahead and bring him out right here. All you gotta do is just pop him on and push on down. Be very careful with the weapons. Don't want to damage them or break them. And I think that's about as far as I can get mine to go. Oh, mine's not even on it. But that's okay. That's what it looks like. And we can also put the hood on these figures as well. Pop it on. And there we go. Look at that. And we'll go ahead and pop this head off. Take the hood off. And put on the other head sculpt. Now we won't go too crazy and pop it actually all the way in. You can pop it all the way on. I just don't want to do that and have to take everything off. But this is what it looks like. And then we'll go ahead and put the hood on. And there you go. Look at that. Super cool. Super awesome. Now, besides that, let's just go ahead and get into the hand sculpts. So here we have his fisted hand sculpts. This will be super quick and short. We've already gone over what they look like on the last figure and what they look like already whenever we were reviewing this figure as well in the beginning. So there's not much to talk about. Paintwork is already great. They can move. So let's just go ahead and get into his other hands. And here we have his weapon holding hands. Just like the other Last Ronin's weapon holding hands, I will go ahead and show you how to attach each of the weapons as well. So let's go ahead and show you real quick how to attach each weapon. Super simple and fast. All you have to do is just slide it in from the top. You can go ahead and move the first finger right here just a little bit, just to get it in place. And there you go. That's how you attach Raph's Sai. We can go ahead and pull this out, and you can slide this into his holster right here to store his weapon. Now for his nunchucks right here, again, same thing. You just slide it on in through the top of the hand, just like that. And there you go. Now he's holding his nunchuck. And he can hold it with both hands, just like the other figure can. There you go. And we'll go ahead and pop these out. And you can store these in the back right here. I still believe they go right here. I'm not sure anymore. I think they might go together in the back hoop right here, because this one seems more stretched out than the other one did. So they go in the back hoop right here, and then this one stores something else. Then we have Leo's katana right here, the broken one. So again, same thing. All you have to do is just push it into his hand right here and push it on down. And there you go. Now he's holding his katana right here. Now you can also do the same thing with his, whoop, there goes his chucks and his bandana. You can do the same thing with his baton. Go ahead and slide it on through his hand. Might have to move it a little bit because the handle is pretty chunky. And there you go. Now he has his baton. So since we have all of his weapons out here, let's go ahead and compare them to his other weapons from the other Last Ronin figure. Let's go ahead and bring him out again. Here he is. So here we have Raph's other sai. We'll go ahead and pull them out. So this is the unarmored one and this is the armored one. They are the exact same. Super cool, super nice. Now you have both of Raphael's sais. If you get both the armored and the unarmored one, and we'll go ahead and take out his baton real quick so I can show y'all. You can slide in both sais, one right there. There you go. He has one in his left or right, and then one in his left hand. So now he has both sides. Look at that. And you can do the same thing for this figure. You just put in his weapon holding hand and plug in the size. Now we'll go ahead and take these out real quick. Now for Leo's, we have a broken one right here. This is his broken. And then for the armored one, we have his complete one. So you can have two katanas right here, one broken, one non-broken. You have different shading though on the katanas. So we have a dark brown right here for the handle and a lightish white, kind of gray on this handle. Look at that. And I think this sword right here is shorter than this one. So if you look right here at the handles, here, let me grab it by the blades. If you look right here at the handles, this handle seems to be just a tad bit shorter than the gray one here. But besides that, we have his other nunchucks. So now with the armored one, you can have both his nunchucks. Oops. We'll go ahead and take this out of the armored Ronin. Slide that on out. There we go. And now with both figures, you will be able to have both of Mikey's nunchucks. Both are a metal chain, so you can swing these around if you'd like, which is super nice. They do go stored in the back though. Now with Donnie's bow staff though, only the armored one comes with Donnie's bow staff. So if you want the unarmored one to have that in any cool poses, you will have to get the armored one in order to get Donnie's bow staff. And then we have his electric batons. We get one for the armored and one for the unarmored. So now he can have both batons. Super duper cool. And again, with these hands, all you have to do is just slide them in through the top. All these weapons fit in these hands, so you won't have to worry about it. Both Ronin figures can hold on to these accessories, so you won't even have to worry about that. Now besides that, let's go ahead and get into his other weapons, which are his daggers right here. I almost forgot. So with his daggers, he comes with this hand right here. This is one of his fisted hands, the unarmored one. We can move him aside now. The unarmored one comes with this little gap right here. If you can see that, you slide in the top right here on in there. So you go ahead and slide that on in, And there you go. Now you can have him holding his dagger right here, his little throwing knife. And it slides in just at the top. That, or you can have him also holding it between his thumb and finger, which I don't really recommend because of how small and thin they are. I don't think they'd really stay for too long between them. Maybe if you had them a certain way, then yeah. But I really don't recommend you to keep it in this place for too long because it can fall out eventually. But besides that, now let's go ahead and get into his other hand's accessories and clean this up a little bit. And here we have the Last Ronin with his karate chop hands, or his opened hands right here with his fingers put together. Now that the area is clean, let's go ahead and talk about these hands. Now these hands look really nice on the Ronin figure. I'm not really sure what you would use these for. I think you would mainly use them for Splinter's journal. So he would hold Splinter's journal in one hand, and I think that is what the other hand accessory is for, the one that came with just one. This one right here. So we'll go ahead and test out how that looks. So let's go ahead and see. So we'll do a two-hand review right here. So we'll go ahead and pop that hand off. And here he is, pointing. There he is pointing at you, pointing over there. Super cool. And then we'll go ahead and put Splinter's journal in this hand. Oh, it doesn't look like it'll stay in this hand, huh? Oh, there it goes. And then we'll have him kind of like about to open it or touch it. Oh, and there goes Splinter's journal. Maybe it goes in this hand instead. Here, let's see. Oh, but then again, how would he read it? I guess that kind of fits. A little like that. Well, I'm not too sure. If you guys know anything about it, you go ahead and let me know in the comments. But besides that, these hands look super cool on him. There's not much to talk about. We already got into how they look up close. So let's just go ahead and get into the figure's articulation. And here he is back in his normal state, ready to go over articulation. As always, we'll start from the bottom and go to the top. So we have, again, toe pivot, right, or not toe pivot, ankle pivot right here, goes up about that much for both feet, goes back only a little bit due to his sandal. No toe pivot, has a ankle twist right here, and can pivot as well. Some good pivot right there. We have double jointed knees, so we can go ahead and bend these. Oh, bend these knees back. There we go. Mine's pretty stiff. There we go. Into a kneeling position. That's as far as they go. If you move the thigh, he can go up just a bit further to his shell. His thighs can come out only about that much due to this getting in the way. He can kick out about that much. He has a swivel at the top. Barely any bend in the front. Just a little bit. No back bend. His arms can actually do a 360 this time. We'll go ahead and move the bandana out of the way. Can do a 360 this time than the armored one because of the armor being in the way, or his chest plate and jacket. Same thing with the other arm. We can go ahead and move that up. He can bring up his arm to a T-pose this time. Again, due to the armor not being in the way, he can get more flexibility up in the upper body range. We got double jointed elbows. Goes just about the same as the last one because this gauntlet gets in the way. So that's a big bummer. Same thing with the other arm right here. We got a swivel at the arm and a swivel at the wrist right here. And a wrist swivel right here. This is a bicep. And then we have a nice little bend with the hands. Same thing on the other arm. Swivel right here, swivel right here, and swivel right here. You can bend back and forth. We'll go ahead and move these arms back on down. He can lean to the left and right about that much now. And his head can lean just a little bit with a little bit of a bend. He can look up about that much and look down about that much. It's a good amount of looking down. Oh, and there goes his bandana. Now, besides that, there is not much to talk about when it comes down to articulation. He has a bit more articulation than the armored one, thanks to the upper body armor not being in the way. So, besides that, let's just go ahead and get into some size and comparisons with this guy. And here we have the Hasbro Snake Eyes standing next to the Last Ronin from NECA. And the Last Ronin is just a bit taller, not a lot, but I mean, he is definitely taller, and I expected it too because in the last comparison he was taller. But I think without the armor he looks a little bit shorter. But hey, that's just what I think. I'm not too sure, but we can always compare them together again here in a bit. But look at that. But besides that, there's really not much to talk about when it comes down to these two. He does stand a bit taller than the Hasbro Snake Eyes. So let's just go ahead and get into the next comparison. And here we have the Amazing Spider-Man from Mezco standing next to the Last Ronin from NECA. Now, the Last Ronin is for sure taller, again, because Mezco's range around Marvel Legends height, and since Marvel Legends are made by Hasbro, you know, you get it. So, you can definitely tell that the Amazing Spider-Man isn't that much shorter, but he is shorter than the Last Ronin. But here they are next to each other. Both are from New York, so they know how it is in there. But besides that, there's again not much to talk about. So let's just go ahead and get into the next size and comparison. And here we have the SH Figure Arts Black Panther standing next to the Last Ronin. Now, Black Panther looks a bit taller than all the other ones and seems super close to the Last Ronin's height. It's just a little bit shorter, but not a significant amount. So that is pretty cool that the SH Black Panther is definitely almost there. From the back, it doesn't seem like it, you know, whatsoever, because the shell is right there. But whenever they are facing each other, it does seem like he is close. Closer than the others were, for sure. Look at that. Oh, there he goes. He's leaning now. Huh. Well, besides that, again, there's not much to talk about. SH is just shorter than the Last Ronin. So let's just go ahead and get out the armored version and show y'all what they look like together. And here we have the Last Ronin unarmored standing next to the armored one. Now, this is where the size and comparison really comes to play. So when it comes down to these two, let's go ahead and bring them up close. Ooh, yeah, that's about good. So if you look, I don't know for sure. I believe this one is shorter only because his neck is kind of sticking out towards us, while this one's kind of like upright. Yeah, see, he's just a tad bit shorter, and I think the hood also helps out with the height in comparison with these two. And then, like I stated before, whenever I was reviewing him, he has the exact same bottom as well as gauntlets. It's just the jacket and shoulder pads as well as the hood that's missing. So there's not really much, but there is some cool detail in both arms. And I think, here, maybe I just have the wrist. Yeah, let's see. Let's move that wrist. There we go. If you look at the gauntlets, they're exactly the same besides this indent right here. It's just a little different. So that's really cool that they're almost exactly the same besides the coat itself and maybe a little bit of shading and battle damage here and there. But that's really cool though, you know, that they kind of kept it the same. On the bottom right here, again, there's not really much. It's exact same, just like the other ones. Same art. I honestly think they might have just reused the legs and the bottom portion, so like from the waist down is pretty much the exact same, just popped off his torso and made a new torso. That's what I think. But besides that, this one is smaller only because his neck is kind of like hunching over a little bit while this one is up straight. So that's really the only comparison I can see with these two. So besides that, let's just go ahead and bring in their boxes. And here we have both of the Last Ronin action figures as well as their boxes out here. Now, I didn't do this in the last video because I only reviewed one of them, but now that I have two of them in my hands, I can go ahead and show y'all what I was talking about when I said it makes like a small mural. So let's go ahead and move these figures out of the way real quick. So you already know what the front of the box looks like, but on the sides, as I stated in the beginning of the review, they each have a number, 1 and 2, and that's the order of how the mural is going to go. So here we have the Last Ronin armored version, and then the unarmored. And all you gotta do is just combine them like that to make a cool picture, and I'll go ahead and bring that up close. Look at that. Super, super cool. So later on, whenever I do get more of these figures, I will be reviewing them and showing you exactly what they look like next to the mural and all their boxes together. So every time at the end of the video, I'll always have the boxes I already reviewed and figures I reviewed already right here, and then the new box right in front to show you what it looks like next to them. So it seems like the next figure I will be reviewing is Raphael. So do keep in mind and be on the lookout for that new review. But besides that, I want to thank y'all all for watching so much. It really does help me. I do want y'all to comment though if there's anything I can do better for y'all, if there's any action figures you want me to review, if this Ninja Turtle action figures is just getting boring and you want me to review something else, do let me know. I will try and keep a variety of different things for reviews on this channel. So if there's anything else you want me to review, go ahead and let me know down in the comments. And if there's anything I can do better as a reviewer for y'all, any points of articulation, anything you guys want me to tell y'all and show y'all, please let me know because I want to make sure I'm getting everything for y'all. But besides that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Consider liking and subscribing. And besides that, I'll see y'all in the next one.